When you tell somebody you're a magician and they ask you what instrument you play, how do you respond to them?
I'm going to answer that question, and David and I are going to watch some of the hottest videos in magic on the internet this week on Magicians React. This week, David and I each picked a few videos to show to each other to get reactions. I haven't seen David's, David hasn't seen mine, and the first one we're going to take a look at is from Super Chen. David, I want you to take a look at this. In particular, I want you to focus on a couple of things here. This is a submission for the FISM Online World Championships. You're going to have to watch this multiple times because there's so many things that happen all over the screen.
I mean, I'm already fooled by the cup right off the bat. And the coin. Okay.
Now, I'm not familiar with Super Chen's work before this, but this guy clearly has a lot of skill, and not just in magic and sleight of hand, but in gimmick building and even in filming his own magic.
I mean, yeah, oh, whoa. Yeah, I mean, he definitely seems to be a very skilled magician, and I guess he's good at filming now. I see all the stuff fall off the shelf.
This is just perfectly framed because he uses magic everywhere on this video.
Was that a mirror he just suggested? Okay, I didn't see that coming either.
I'm willing to bet you didn't see that coin coming either.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, we're gonna let this loop a couple of times.
I'm gonna try to watch something else this time because I watched him the first time, I feel like.
So one of the things that I really like, so I had not gone through all of the different FISM World Championships of online magic submissions before this week, but this one stood out to me because a lot of the videos I saw were either people filming their stage act or some like manipulation in a room to camera, but I think that the best videos in the online magic really take advantage of the medium in using online magic and sort of Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whichever medium they filmed it for, but doing magic that works in that medium. Because you couldn't perform this trick in real life.
No, and it does use, like you said, it does use the medium absolutely perfectly.
Like we're not here to like go into methods or anything, but there's definitely stuff that's happening off frame.
There's gotta be.
That he's using to his advantage. And the other thing is, he uses different elements in the video really well. Like if at the very beginning, he sort of picks up the water jug as he's looking for the cup, and then the water comes back in later on. The coin is a nice thing that sort of keeps coming back over and over again.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm being misdirected somehow, even though the whole screen's in frame the whole time. I feel like, I don't know. It's hard to misdirect through a camera, and I feel like he's doing it very well.
He really is doing it well, and I have no idea how a lot of this stuff works. It's really good, and then you feel like this real sense of weight when like the coin appears in the cup, the way he drops it. It's really well executed, and to me, this is what like online magic should look like. For
sure, and I picked all my videos from FISM last week, and I somehow missed this one. I'm glad you pointed this one out.
All right, what are we watching?
All right, I picked a video that I think also is phenomenal at misdirecting on camera, but let's take a look. It's from Jan Frisch. And, he's just doing his Jan thing with the ball in the cup, but, I mean...
Oh, this is new. I haven't seen this before.
No, I think there are things in here that aren't in his main act, and, like, that part especially fooled me, the cup.
Oh, man. There's, to me, like, some of the more impressive things on here are, the fact that there's a mirror behind him.
Yeah.
You can't see anything what he's doing.
No.
And the fact that, like, intellectually, I know when he's vanishing these objects, but I still can't get it because the movement is just perfect.
No, and also, like, the method he's using to vanish or get rid of these objects is something I'd have trouble doing in real life, let alone on camera. Like, he has to be an expert at this in order just to make it look good on camera because of the level of misdirection, just skill that it requires.
Well, he did win the Grand Prix.
He did. Like, oh, well-deserved, yes.
I should say there's a convention that happens here in Columbus, and I saw Jan lecture on his phys. Like, he taught his Physimac. Not that anyone's ever going to do it, but he's so good at it that the explanation was just as fooling as the performance.
Oh, yeah, I remember he had to, like, try to go as slow as possible, but still, you couldn't see anything going on.
It's so good. By the way, I'm Eric Tate.
I'm David Newell.
And do us a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you'll be notified when Penguin Magic puts up more content like this. I have a video right here from that I want you to check out from Takumi Takahashi.
Ooh, let's take a look.
3 guesses as to why you want me to. I want you to watch a Takumi video.
Well, I mean, I could tell you right off the bat, it has something to do with your shared teacher, I would assume.
Takumi and I are basically brothers separated by a continent and an ocean.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite videos. This, by the way, is his FISM online magic submission, and it's one of the few that I think is really, it specializes in sleight of hand that you could do. You could see Takumi do this in real life.
Okay, that's really interesting. It's kind of different from your last one that couldn't be done in real life. Like, so this is something he could actually do.
Yes, I've actually seen Takumi do stuff like this in real life. He is unbearably smooth with his sleight of hand.
I haven't seen this, but I've seen the other stuff he's done, and he's very, very, very good.
He's about to do one of his signature pieces right here, if you're familiar at all with it.
Okay.
And it is... Boom!
Okay,
boom.
yeah, I see why you chose this one. Man, that looks so clean.
Not only is it clean, so I've actually worked on learning that, doing the snap deal to card to coin transfer. I can do 1, but I can't do 4 the way he can.
That's really, it is impressive. And I don't think this gives away too much. The coins are so small too. Like that, I imagine would just add to how hard it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The thing I really like about this video too is that so this year the online magic stuff, the online magic competition in FISM is an exhibition. So it's a special thing that's happening for this FISM only.
Right.
They're not sure if they're going to have the World Championships of Online Magic again. I think they should, and I think that they should also treat it as its own venue. In FISM, you compete in either stage or close-up, and then those major categories get divided into smaller categories. It's like I competed in close-up, and then I was, not just in close-up, I was in the card division. I think they should do the same thing with these online stuff, because like this video right here is so different from the previous one, which is really high concept.
Yeah.
Whereas like this is clearly pure sleight of hand and not taking advantage of the camera frame. In fact, there's like some motion in the camera that really gives it life, so that you know that he's really doing this and not just like, the only time the deck goes out of frame is like not to set up for the magic.
Right.
It's literally just to clean it up so that it looks more visually.
For sure, and I like what you're saying there about like breaking down different categories. If you watched a lot of the FISM submissions like we both did, I mean, different categories already kind of emerged. Like there were illusions, there were things that use editing, there were stuff like this. So I think that would only really help it in the future.
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic one. And people should, anyone watching this should just check out more of Takumi Takahashi's work.
For sure, he's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
All right, my next one is quite a bit different than Takumi Takahashi, but I think you'll like it because this is from a product we released actually.
Okay.
Let's take a look at it now. You can see he's doing missing finger, but
okay.
he added a little bit extra there. So let's start from the beginning.
I am already on board with this.
Right.
Because missing finger is great.
Right.
But so we did set this in the beginning.
Yes, it's that part there that I really like. He eats it. I don't know whether he uses like a hot dog or what he uses, but
that reappearance of the finger looks so good.
It's genius. And I mean, you know, the cleanup's pretty good. It's just,
I think that he's actually using like an additional missing finger gimmick for that second thing right there. Also, I want to commend, this is good _ duck, good duck. The paint job he did on that missing finger is really good. I know when missing finger came out, there was like, it kind of got some heat on the Magic Cafe and a few other forums because people didn't like that you had to paint it, because releasing, I don't know, there's every rainbow of skin tone under the sun would have been super impossible. But Nick Lacappa does a good job of teaching you how to paint yours. Mario paints his differently than Nick's.
Yeah.
It's just, but it's really easy to do, and it doesn't take long to make it look good.
And you see it for so little time, it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, and you can see there, he got like the half moon on his fingernail. He did it perfectly, and for the few seconds that it's in frame, I don't think there's any question that would be a finger.
This is, this routine reminds me of something that like Magic Ballet would do.
Oh, 100%, yeah, dude.
This is, I love the routining on this.
No, it was really good. I mean, I had to include it because I've never seen anything so creative with missing finger before.
Okay, so this next one actually has some sound, so we're gonna watch it first, and then we're gonna talk about it. But this is Jason Heis.
Okay, let's take a look.
Hello, friends. I'd like to show you a trick you can do with a clothes hanger and a t-shirt. Now to do this, we're going to take the t-shirt and put it on the hanger. Oh, it's stuck on there. Oh, something's stuck on.
Okay.
Gotta take it off, am I right? Oh, it's a continuous loop. Guess my grandma was right. I am a loser. Well, we know what we're gonna have to do. I have to break it off. That's what I'll do. I'll break it off. Not again. Well, so I'm stuck on. Gotta take it off.
Okay. I like this one a lot.
This is another one that, like, I think really you couldn't. I'm not sure if you could perform this in real life or not, but it really does take advantage of the medium.
Right, it frames everything really well.
Yeah, and also like this hanger on the watch thing, I have no idea how he did that.
I don't know how he did that, but the part that really fooled me even more was the watch on the belt loop.
Both of them are really good.
Right.
This comedy linking ring. This has got like a real. Not Matt King, but it's got a real Harry Anderson
Oh yeah,
feel to it. Where, but also like the Matt King and Harry Anderson both have like they do like a thumb tie where like stuff like accidentally links together.
It's like it's really offbeat and weird, but like entertaining.
Yeah,
it like meets all those three things perfectly.
The other thing it does really well is it starts with this handkerchief thing, and then the handkerchief sort of comes back out of nowhere. I'm not sure why he's pulling his fly down to reproduce the handkerchief out of nowhere, but it's so good.
It was weird, man. Why not?
Yeah, this is like I wish there was an online category for comedy because I think that this one would win hands down.
It would be a contender for sure.
Deeply fooling, but also just like this is what I want in my online magic.
Exactly, he used it perfectly. Now I have one more video actually.
Okay.
And this one isn't a magic trick like you'd think about it, but it fooled me still. And I know that's a weird like framework to set, so let's take a look.
Let's just look at it. Okay, is this
It's a nice painting, you know. But just watch the painting.
Oh my god! I had no idea what this was going to be.
Right.
I think I actually like snotted.
It's okay. No, it's perfect. I mean, the cat is the exact same like color palette as the painting, so it just really looks perfect.
That is so good.
I need one of these for my cat. And again, it's not a magic trick, but it looks so perfect. I couldn't not include this.
This is the best thing on the internet. I don't care what. I need to get something like this for my dogs.
For sure, dude.
Although they will never sit still enough to do this.
No, I don't think my cat would either, but
The zoom in and like the cat has the best comedic timing.
It does. Like I would like to think this was just one take. I just can't imagine a cat sitting still this long.
I don't think that we should do any of the show. We should just sit here and watch this for 19 hours.
Dude.
This is my favorite thing.
I would do it too.
Oh, that's the best. All right. Well, David, I know that you and Chris have been talking about a product that was coming out. It finally dropped, but I don't think you've actually ever seen what I do with it at the restaurant.
No, I haven't.
This is what I do with it at the restaurant.
All right, let's take a look.
With your hands completely empty, you can play any object like a harmonica.
That's the harmonica I play. Go away.
All you do is you just
Oh, this one.
that's it. That's how you play the harmonica. This is Invisible Harmonica by Fabian Roubaud, and this so. At the restaurant, I keep the Invisible Harmonica. So this, by the way, a couple things. This is the actual restaurant that I perform in every week. It's a restaurant here in Columbus, Ohio called Town Hall. I know sometimes you fill in for me when I'm off doing stuff. So does Chris Hannawell and a bunch of the other customer service guys. But very often when I walk up to a table, I say to them, "Hi, my name is Eric Tate, and I'm the house magician." Very often people will go, "Oh, what instrument do you play?" And I'll go, "I'll tell you. Actually, I'll show you." And then I'll pull out a pad of Post-its, draw a harmonica, play the harmonica, and then give them the Post-it. Gets a great reaction because it comes out of nowhere. Also, it's a really organic way to answer that question.
Definitely.
The other thing I do is I will hold the harmonica in reserve. For A, if they ask that question, but B, if I want to return to a table because I had a lot of fun with them, I'll come up and I'll say, "Hey, the bartender asked me to check your ID." I'll take a look at it and say, "Oh, you're from Ohio, the music state." And then I'll just explain what I say about the music state because I'll say that you can play the ID. Actually, Nick Locapo on the podcast this morning gave me a really great idea for using the real ID. The way to test if it's a real ID
That's clever.
is to the real IDs can do to play the harmonica.
I like that.
But it's a great product that I really like using, and it's so good for going back to a table if like the table's been there for a while or I've had a lot of fun with them. And I want to see if I can get a tip by doing an extra trick.
Yeah.
This is a great way to do it.
Now, do you naturally do this in your set, or do you reserve it for, aside from like the playing the ID thing, going back to the table, do you reserve it the first time for if somebody asks what instrument do you play, or do you do it anyway?
Yeah, no. I try and hold it in reserve to go back and do the AD, because the AD gag is my favorite way to do it,
Right.
because they think they're in trouble when I ask to see their ID, but you so often get the question, what instrument do you play, that I have it, and I have my Post-its ready, that if they say what is that, I will go directly into it.
Okay.
And then it's just super fun.
That's a good way to do it. Now, I also actually have a harmonica trick that Penguin has worked on recently. This is from the Mario Lopez lecture called Harmonigag.
Okay.
I know you've seen it because you hosted the thing, but this is another offbeat weird thing that I love, and I want to hear what you were thinking when we saw this.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Now, this was already one of the best Penguin lectures I've ever seen, but this is my favorite thing from that lecture.
Yeah.
That might make it my favorite Penguin Live trick ever, I don't know. And you just gotta turn it down and we're good.
So, this was super fun because a couple different things. Invisible Harmonica was like just on the cusp of coming out when he did this, and so I didn't know that this was in his set when we were filming it. So the audience has no idea what's going on, and they're just like, and because it kind of goes on for so long, it's so weird, they just end up falling about themselves laughing. I thought he had gotten a hold of an invisible harmonica like gimmick and was using it without us realizing it, but then I realized that he was doing stuff you couldn't do with the invisible harmonica gig. And then when we were hosting the video, he told me this story. So he does another trick that you saw in Penn and Teller Fool Us, where he does the long salt pour, and he needed an additional gimmick for that, and because something had broken, and he was about to go on stage in his gala show, like he was going to be on stage in 10 minutes, and so something had broken and he needed to replace it, and there was like a junk shop or like a dollar store or something nearby. And so he went to that junk shop to buy the replacement gimmick for the salt pour because of the way he does it. And prior to that, he had done the harmonica thing because he had discovered this gimmick in like a doll that his kids had. And then he lost it and was really sad because he couldn't do it. But then when he got the gimmick for the salt pour, he discovered the gimmick that was in the doll also in this other gimmick that he was getting for the salt pour. And so then he was trying to find more of them, and the host of the show had to like run next door and find him and be like, dude, you're on stage in 10 seconds. Like,
oh wow.
And so he, like, Mario just like goes tearing through out of this shop, like across the street, back through the theater, and like on stage. And also he's loaded to do the salt pour and all the rest of the stuff, so he's just like full of
stuff.
The history behind the harmonica gag is almost more interesting than the harmonica
It's like
gag itself.
gimmickception. Lost the gimmick, found a gimmick, replaced the gimmick, needed it.
I
lost track, but that's crazy.
I mean, it takes him like 7 or 8 minutes to tell the story, but it's so worth it. And it's such a good trick.
It's fantastic. And the last thing I want to add about this is, just like with Invisible Harmonica, he's making this noise. There's no electronics, nothing you need to worry about recharging. This is a noise he can make, and you can make too if you watch this Penguin Live lecture.
Well, that's it for Magicians React this week. Do us a favor, let us know in the comments below your favorite videos this week, and if there's other videos that we should see and let the rest of the Penguin crew and the Penguin YouTube audience know about.
Definitely. And as always, I'm David.
I'm Eric.
And this was Magicians React.